Poor infrastructure remains a major problem in the Free State province. In Qwaqwa, some schools are still using pit latrine toilets, while the province is still battling water supply shortages as well. By 2017, the Department of Basic Education had about 156 schools with pit latrines, but they've since eradicated the majority of them.
Mangaung Intermediate School is next in line for the eradication of pit latrines. For now, learners have to use the existing structures to relieve themselves, and water supply is also a problem.
In 2017, we had about 156 schools with pit latrine, and we have since eradicated 99. Out of that 156, 53 schools were closed, were rationalized because they were not viable. And we are left with four, in that four, three of them are under construction, and one we are going to appoint a contractor to make sure that they assist us.
Qwaqwa Secondary School has just had its pit latrines converted to flushing toilets. I am happy that finally our children will be safe with the flushing toilets. Even water was a problem, but now things are better in our school.
With the use of flushing toilets, now we have running water, which promotes cleanness. So we are really glad.
Teachers say the pit latrines put learners' lives at risk.
Those old traditional toilets, they have big holes, you see. So now it put learners at risk because some of them, they might fall inside. So of which it's one of those problems that we are facing. And then again, in terms of water now, the shortage of water, whereby now the learners will go to the toilet and there's no water. So now they can't clean their hands. So in terms of their hygiene, it put the learners at risk.
The Free State also accounts for half of the bucket system in the country. The situation is also worsened by inconsistent water supply in some areas. Aphumelele Mdlalane, SABC News, Qwaqwa.
So for more on this, let's cross to our reporter Aphumelele Mdlalane in the Free State. Aphumelele, good morning. So the focus this morning, just getting in touch with the situation on the ground. So talk to us about the Free State, at least a good story as per your report, but more on this, please.
We have visited Qwaqwa in particular at this moment in time. I'm at Mangaung Intermediate School. We were here yesterday. Behind me is the pit latrines that are being used by learners to relieve themselves. But when we talked to the Department of Education, they said that work is in progress. This school is in line in terms of converting these pit latrines to flushing toilets, but in the Free State there's been an issue of sanitation crisis as well as poor infrastructure. We must remember that Qwaqwa already is battling with the chronic water supply. This moment in time at this school there's not even electricity and water. It is a crisis, even though that they have managed to source in water tanks, but the Department of Education, of course, is working around the clock. There has been 156 pit latrines in the Free State from 2017, but now the department says only 4 or about 5 schools that remain with pit latrines. Another school that we visited yesterday is Qwaqwa Primary School, where we saw some work in progress. Contractors already finished their work there in terms of new projects, in terms of the eradicating the pit latrines. But here at this school, it's still a battle. It's still a battle where learners are supposed to be exposed to this, though there hasn't been any reports in terms of any danger that has been imposed to learners by these pit latrines. But one must indicate that there's been when we're talking to teachers, there's been a great concern of hygiene amongst others, as these learners, when they come to school and use these pit latrines, then water is a problem because there is a shortage of water here. I'm talking about this issue that has been going for over a decade now. We've been coming to Qwaqwa in terms of addressing the issue of water, and not long ago Minister of Water and Sanitation also made a commitment that about billions that are supposed to be, of course, to be directed to make sure that the infrastructure of this area is being attended to, because it has, of course, put the residents to the receiving end. We also went to some community remote areas where we saw that they are still exposed to be using pit latrines, and they've been saying that yes, it's a battle, especially now that we live in COVID-19, whereby they even have to walk long distances to fetch water. Sometimes they would join long queues and then come back home with empty buckets. But with the Department of Education, they have said to us that they are committing by the end of this year all schools should have flushing toilets, and this is just one of the last schools that we believe that they will be giving attention to. As I did mention that there's some schools already that we visited here in Qwaqwa where we saw that there's a work in progress. Others, it's been 3 months now, they've been using these new flushing toilets. And also teachers, of course, have welcomed this, as they've been saying that it's quite tricky, especially in primary schools, whereby they have to be very cautious and sometimes go with the learners to the toilets to make sure that nothing happens.
Oh, thank you so much, Aphumelele Mdlalane, our reporter out in the Free State. And interesting because, you know, this school sanitation issue has been an issue since time immemorial. I can remember the horrible state of toilets when I was at school. But speaking of teachers accompanying learners, this is what teachers used to do routinely. When I started school, the teachers would line you up, boys, girls, and you would go all together. It was a bathroom break time, and the teachers would accompany you. And one would imagine in situations where the facilities are unsafe, there's even more emphasis that should be placed on the safety aspect, and therefore children being accompanied by their teachers. But who knows how all of these things are decided upon. But that's the situation in the Free State, as reported by Aphumelele Mdlalane. Let's take a quick break here on Morning Live.